The last person I expected to see standing at my office door was my sister Valerie. Yet there she was, designer clothes replaced by a wrinkled blouse, perfect makeup traded for dark circles under her eyes. For a moment, I barely recognized her. "Sylvia, I need your help." Her voice cracked on the last word. I gripped my coffee mug tighter, frozen in place. 10 years of silence stretched between us like a chasm. 10 years since she'd run to our parents with her concerns about my lifestyle, painting me as the family disgrace. 10 years since I'd been cut off without a penny to my name. "How did you even find me?" I managed to ask, proud that my voice remained steady. "Everyone knows about Horizon Tech's rising star CEO." A weak smile flickered across her face. "My little sister, making waves in the business world." I set my mug down carefully. "I have a meeting in 5 minutes. Whatever you're selling, I'm not interested. Please, just hear me out." She stepped forward and I noticed the slight tremor in her hands. "Parker left me. He took everything. The house, the cars, our savings. I have nowhere else to go." The irony wasn't lost on me. Perfect Valerie, Mom and Dad's golden child, now standing in my office looking like a lost puppy. The same sister who'd told our parents I was living in sin because I'd moved in with my boyfriend at 22. The same sister who'd nodded approvingly when Dad changed the locks and Mom said I was dead to them. "Monica, can you reschedule my 10 a.m.? I called out to my business partner, who was hovering anxiously by her desk. She nodded, shooting me a concerned look. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. "You have 5 minutes." Valerie sank into it, her shoulders slumping. Parker was having affairs, multiple affairs. When I confronted him, She swallowed hard. He had everything in his name. The prenup. I was so stupid, Sylvia. I signed without reading it properly. Now I'm staying at a motel, living off my credit cards. "And let me guess, you've already been to Mom and Dad?" She nodded miserably. "They said I made my bed by marrying Parker against their wishes, that I should pray for guidance." I couldn't help but laugh. Sounds familiar, except in my case, the only sin was wanting to live my own life. "I was wrong," Valerie whispered. "What I did to you, I was jealous. You were always so brave, so sure of yourself. I thought if I could prove to Mum and Dad that I was the good daughter—" "Stop." I held up my hand. "I don't need your apologies now that you're desperate. They're 10 years too late." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I know, but you're my only hope, Sylvia. I don't have anyone else." Looking at her now, I remembered the sister who used to braid my hair before school, who taught me how to ride a bike, who turned into a stranger the day she chose our parents' approval over our bond. My phone buzzed, a text from Monica. "Whatever you're thinking, be careful." I studied Valerie's face, searching for any trace of manipulation, but all I saw was defeat. The mighty had fallen, and karma had done its work without any help from me. "There's a spare room in my condo," I heard myself say. "You can stay there temporarily while you figure things out. But we're not sisters anymore, Valerie. This is business. You'll work at my company to earn your keep, starting at entry level like everyone else." Her eyes widened. "You'd do that? After everything? Don't mistake this for forgiveness." I stood up, smoothing my skirt. "Consider it a front-row seat to see everything you and our parents said I'd never achieve. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an actual meeting to prepare for." She rose shakily, clutching her worn purse. "Thank you, Sylvia. I won't let you down." "You already did that once," I replied coldly. "Monica will give you the spare key and address. Be out of that motel by tonight." As I watched her hurry out, Monica appeared in my doorway. "You sure about this?" I picked up my tablet, pulling up the quarterly reports. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's showing them exactly what they threw away. But as I tried to focus on the numbers, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. The lost little girl inside me, the one who'd cried herself to sleep after being disowned, was screaming that I was making a mistake. The businesswoman I'd become knew better. This wasn't about helping Valerie. This was about proving something to myself. and maybe, just maybe, about finally laying some ghosts to rest. I spent that evening watching Valerie unpack her meager belongings into my pristine guest room. Her entire life had been reduced to 2 suitcases, a far cry from the walk-in closets she used to brag about at Parker's mansion. "The bathroom's through there," I said, leaning against the doorframe. "I leave for work at 7 sharp. Be ready." She nodded, carefully hanging a wrinkled blouse. "I still can't believe how beautiful your place is. The view of the city, amazing what you can achieve when you stop letting others dictate your life." I checked my phone, pretending not to notice her flinch. "There's leftover Thai in the fridge if you're hungry." "Sylvia," she turned to face me, wringing her hands. "Can we talk? Really talk?" "I have work to review. Please, just tell me what happened after I told Mom and Dad about Jason." The name of my ex-boyfriend hit like a punch to the gut. "You mean after you painted me as some kind of deviant for moving in with him?" "Let's see." I ticked off points on my fingers. I lost my family, my home, my college funding. Worked 3 jobs while finishing my degree. Lived on ramen and coffee until Monica and I got our first investor. What else would you like to know? "I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing." The words exploded out of me. "You don't get to ease your conscience now. Where were you when I needed my big sister? When I was sleeping on friends' couches? When I graduated and there wasn't a single family member in the audience?" Valerie sank onto the bed, shoulders shaking. "I was wrong. So wrong. I let Mom and Dad's expectations consume me until I couldn't see straight. Then I married Parker because he checked all their boxes. Successful, religious, from a good family." She laughed bitterly. "Look how well that turned out." "What exactly did Parker do?" I found myself asking, curiosity winning over anger. "He was sleeping with his secretary. Classic, right? But it gets better." She wiped her eyes. "He was also sleeping with his partner's wife and embezzling company funds to maintain his lifestyle. When it all came out, he transferred everything to offshore accounts and disappeared." "And you had no idea?" "I was the perfect obedient wife. Never questioned the late nights or business trips, just like I was the perfect obedient daughter." She met my eyes. "I envied you, you know, your courage to live authentically. I thought following all the rules would keep me safe, loved. Instead..." My phone buzzed, a text from Lucas, our head of product development. "Need your input on the new interface design. Free for coffee tomorrow." I ignored it, focusing on Valerie. "Why didn't you fight the prenup? Parker's lawyers are better than anything I could afford. Besides..." She pulled out a folder from her suitcase. "Look at these clauses. He had it all planned from the start." I scanned the document, my business instincts kicking in. "This is predatory as hell. Have you shown this to anyone else?" "Who would help me? I can't even afford a consultation." An idea sparked. Dangerous, possibly stupid, but potentially perfect. What if you could? What if you could not only fight back, but show Parker exactly what it feels like to lose everything? Valerie looked up, confusion clear on her face. "What do you mean? Our company's legal team is one of the best in the city, and I happen to know Parker's firm is trying to land a contract with us." I smiled, the kind of smile that had made more than one competitor nervous. "Tomorrow you start in our mailroom, but if you prove yourself trustworthy, maybe we can help each other with something bigger." "You'd do that? Help me take him down?" "Don't mistake this for sisterly love," I warned. "This is business. Parker's firm has resources we want. If exposing his fraud helps us acquire those resources while giving you justice, well, that's just efficient." For the first time, I saw a flash of the old Valerie, the sharp, determined sister I'd once admired. "Tell me what you need me to do. First, prove you can handle basic responsibilities. Show up on time, do your job well, keep your drama to yourself. Then we'll talk strategy." I headed for the door, pausing in the doorway. "And Valerie, if this is some kind of act, if you betray me again..." "I won't," she said quietly. "I know you have no reason to believe me, but I won't." Later that night, As I lay in bed, reviewing quarterly projections, I received another text from Lucas. Heard about your sister. You okay? I stared at the message, thinking about the day's events. Was I okay? I had my estranged sister sleeping down the hall, a risky business play forming in my mind, and years of buried emotions threatening to surface. I'm fine, I typed back. Just business as usual. But as I set my phone down, I wondered who I was really trying to convince. And this is where the magic happens, I announced, leading Valerie through our development floor. Her eyes widened at the sleek workstations, the wall-to-wall screens displaying code and designs. 3 years ago, this was all just sketches in my notebook. Now we're revolutionizing user interface design. It's incredible, she whispered, taking it all in. I had no idea technology could be so beautiful. Sylvia! Lucas jogged up to us, tablet in hand. Sorry to interrupt, but we've got an issue with the new security protocols. The client meeting's in 2 hours. I turned to Valerie. Monica will show you to the mailroom. Remember what we discussed, 7:30 sharp tomorrow. As she followed Monica away, Lucas raised an eyebrow. So that's the infamous sister. Let's focus on the security protocols, I said, taking the tablet. But before I could dive in, Monica came rushing back. We have a problem, she said, her face tense. Someone accessed our development servers last night. They copied files, including the new interface designs. My stomach dropped. What? How is that possible? The access came from inside the building, someone with credentials. Lucas swore under his breath. The timing couldn't be worse. The investors are expecting a preview of the unique features next week. I straightened my spine, mind racing. Lock down all sensitive files, start a trace on the data breach, and get me a list of everyone who had access to that server in the last 48 hours. Already on it, Monica said. But Sylvia, your sister's arrival and this breach. Don't, I cut her off. Valerie doesn't have access to anything important yet. Besides, she barely knows how to use a smartphone, let alone hack servers. People can surprise you, Lucas said gently, and not always in good ways. I was about to respond when my phone rang, an unknown number. Hello? Sylvia, it's Mom. The world tilted sideways. 10 years of silence, and now this. How did you get this number? Valerie told us where she was staying. Mum's voice was exactly as I remembered, soft but steely. What game are you playing with your sister? Game? She came to me for help, something you refused to give her. She needs to return to her husband and pray for guidance, not enable your lifestyle. I laughed, harsh and bitter. My lifestyle? You mean my successful company, my penthouse? The life I built after you threw me away? We did what was necessary. No, you did what was easy. And now you're doing it to Valerie too. Goodbye, Mum. I hung up, hands shaking. Lucas touched my arm gently. Hey, you okay? Fine, I snapped, then immediately regretted it. Sorry, it's just complicated. Family usually is. He smiled sympathetically. Come on, I'll buy you a coffee. We can work through these protocols together. At the cafe across the street, I watched him pull up the security specifications on his laptop. Lucas had been one of my first hires. Brilliant, kind, and refreshingly drama-free. Sometimes I caught him looking at me when he thought I wouldn't notice, but he never crossed professional boundaries. What if we restructured the authentication process? He suggested, pointing to a section of code. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a text from Monica. Server trace complete. You need to see this. Rain check on the coffee, I said, standing up. Keep working on those protocols. Back in my office, Monica closed the door behind us. The breach came from the executive floor. Someone used your credentials, Sylvia. That's impossible. I never share my login. There's more. She handed me a tablet. Look at the timing of the access. 2 a.m. last night. The building logs show your keycard was used to enter at that time. My blood ran cold. My keycard, the spare I'd given Valerie. I hate to say it, Monica began. Then don't. I cut her off. my mind whirling. We need proof before we make accusations. Set up discreet monitoring on all executive access points, and get me everything you can find on Parker's current business dealings. You think this goes beyond Valerie? I think nothing in my family is ever simple. I stared out my office window at the city below. And I think it's time to find out exactly what my sister is up to. Monica paused at the door. Just be careful, okay? You've worked too hard to let family drama destroy everything. But as I watched Valerie efficiently sorting mail through the office window, I wondered if I was being paranoid or not paranoid enough. Was she really here for help, or was this all an elaborate setup? And if so, who was really pulling the strings? The answer, I suspected, would cost me far more than just peace of mind. I stayed late that evening, watching through my office window as employees trickled out. Valerie had left at exactly 5, head down, clutching her purse. The perfect picture of a humbled sister, almost too perfect. The security footage from last night played on my laptop. There she was, entering at 2 a.m., heading straight for the executive floor. Not wandering or hesitant, but purposeful. Still here? Lucas appeared in my doorway, 2 cups of coffee in hand. Just reviewing some footage. I accepted the coffee gratefully. Did you finish the security patch? All done, but that's not why I'm here. He sat down across from me. I did some digging on Parker. I raised an eyebrow. I don't recall asking you to do that. No, but you had that look. He grinned. The one you get when you're plotting something. Anyway, you'll want to see this. He pulled out his tablet, showing me a series of news articles and financial records. Parker's company is in trouble. Major trouble. They're hemorrhaging clients, and there are whispers of an SEC investigation. Which is why they're so desperate to land our contract, I murmured, pieces clicking into place. Exactly. And guess who's been meeting with their board regularly for the past month? He swiped to another document. Your sister's divorce lawyer. My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. What? The same lawyer who drafted that supposedly ironclad prenup. Lucas leaned forward. Sylvia, this doesn't feel right. A memory surfaced. Valerie at 16, orchestrating an elaborate scheme to get me grounded so she could go to a party Mum and Dad had forbidden. She'd always been smarter than people gave her credit for. I need to get home, I said, standing abruptly. Thanks for the coffee. And the intel. The drive home was a blur of possibilities, each worse than the last. When I entered my condo, Valerie was sitting at the kitchen island, typing on her phone. Productive first day? I asked casually, setting down my bag. Everyone's been so kind, she said, not looking up. Especially Lucas. He showed me how to use the coffee machine. Did he? I opened my laptop, pulling up the building's security feed. Funny how quickly you're learning your way around, almost like you've been there before. Her fingers stilled on the phone. What do you mean? Cut the act, Valerie. I saw the footage from last night. Want to tell me what you were doing in my office at 2 a.m.? She set her phone down slowly. I couldn't sleep. I was just exploring. With my key card, straight to the executive floor. I turned the laptop to show her the footage. Try again. You don't understand. Then make me understand. I slammed my hand on the counter. Are you working with Parker? Is this some elaborate scheme to steal our tech? No, she stood up, eyes flashing. I'm trying to save you. That stopped me cold. What? Parker's not just after your company's contract, he's planning a hostile takeover. She ran a hand through her hair. The prenup, the affairs, the embezzlement, it was all a setup. He needed me to come to you, to get inside. And you agreed to help him. At first, but then I saw what you've built, what you've become. Her voice cracked. I couldn't do it. I couldn't destroy my sister again. Why should I believe you? She pulled out a USB drive from her purse. Because I copied everything. Parker's real financials, the takeover plans, proof of his offshore accounts. I was going to give it to you tomorrow, but... I stared at the drive, my mind racing. If you're lying, I'm not. She stepped forward. Sylvia, I know I don't deserve your trust, but Parker is dangerous. When he realizes I've turned on him, he'll come after you, I finished. Both of us. I'll leave tonight, she said quietly. You can turn the evidence over to the SEC anonymously. I'll disappear somewhere he can't find me. I thought about the scared little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, the sister who'd betrayed me, the woman standing before me now, finally choosing me over everything else. No, I said firmly, we do this together, but this time we do it my way. What do you mean? I picked up my phone, dialing Monica's number. We're going to set a trap, and when Parker thinks he's won, we'll show him exactly what happens when he underestimates the Santiago sisters. For the first time in 10 years, Valerie and I shared a real smile. It felt like coming home, and like going to war. Mom and Dad won't approve, she said softly. When have they ever? I replied, already planning our next move. Time to write our own rules. The conference room felt too small for all the tension it contained. Monica sat to my right, Lucas to my left, while Valerie paced nervously by the window. On the screen before us, Parker's smug face filled the video call. I must say, Sylvia, I'm impressed, he said, adjusting his expensive tie. Your company's growth is remarkable. I can see why my firm is so interested in this partnership. Funny you should mention partnerships, I replied coolly. We've been reviewing your proposal, and I have some concerns about the terms. His smile didn't waver. Perhaps we could discuss this over dinner. I'm in town next week. Actually, I glanced at Valerie, who had stopped pacing. I think we should discuss it now, particularly the clause about board seat distribution after the merger. A flicker of something, surprise, concern, crossed his face. Those terms are fairly standard. Standard for a hostile takeover, you mean? I pulled up a document on the screen, splitting it with his video feed. These are your real financials, Parker, not the ones you showed our board. The color drained from his face. Did you really think Valerie was stupid enough to fall for your plan? I stood up, letting my anger show. That she'd help you destroy her sister's company to save herself? Valerie, he barked out a laugh, but I could see the calculation in his eyes. My dear, what lies has she been telling you? She's the one who came to me with the idea. Show her, darling. Valerie stepped forward. You mean these emails? She pulled up another document. The ones where you threatened to expose my involvement in your embezzlement schemes if I didn't help you. I kept everything, Parker. Every threat, every fake document, every recording. You recorded. He caught himself, mask slipping. This is ridiculous. I have the best lawyers in the city. Not anymore, Monica chimed in. They dropped you this morning. Something about potential RICO charges. Lucas slid a folder across the table. We sent copies of everything to the SEC. They're very interested in your creative accounting practices. Parker's composure cracked completely. You bitch, he snarled at Valerie. After everything I gave you. You gave me nothing but lies, Valerie shot back. You took everything from me, thinking I was too weak to fight back, but you forgot something important. And what's that? I'm a Santiago sister. She smiled, and I saw our mother's steel in her eyes. We don't break, we get even. The door opened and 2 FBI agents walked in. Mr. Parker, one said, we need you to stay on this call. We're currently executing a search warrant at your office. Parker's face contorted. This isn't over. Your company won't survive the scandal. Actually, I interrupted, our stock is up 15% in pre-market trading. Turns out investors love a company that helps take down corporate fraud. Now, I believe these agents have some questions for you. I ended the call feeling lighter than I had in years. Monica immediately pulled up our stock ticker, grinning at the numbers. Lucas squeezed my shoulder supportively. I'll start drafting the press release, Monica said, heading for the door. Lucas, can you? Already on it, he replied, following her out. But he paused, looking back at me. For what it's worth, that was badass. Once we were alone, Valerie collapsed into a chair. I can't believe we did it. We're not done yet, I reminded her. The FBI will want statements, there'll be a trial. Sylvia, she reached for my hand, Thank you for believing me, for helping me fight back. I let her hold my hand for a moment before pulling away. You took a huge risk copying those files. I had to choose, she said simply. Between the life I thought I wanted and the sister I knew I needed, I chose better this time. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. We saw the news. Your father and I are very disappointed. They'll never change, will they? Valerie asked, reading the message over my shoulder. No, I replied, deleting the message without responding. But maybe we have. So what happens now? Before I could answer, Lucas poked his head back in. Sorry to interrupt, but you both need to see this. Someone leaked photos of Parker being escorted out of his office. Twitter's going crazy. I looked at Valerie and saw my own mixture of exhaustion and triumph reflected in her face. Now, I said, standing up, we face whatever comes next, together. Together, she echoed, following me out. As we walked through the office, employees stopped to stare and whisper. But for the first time since Valerie had shown up at my door, I felt completely certain about my choices. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. It's becoming strong enough to save the people who once hurt you, even if those people are family, especially if they're family. The knock on my office door came just after lunch. I looked up to see Monica's worried face. They're here. I didn't need to ask who. Through the glass walls, I could see them, Mom and Dad, looking exactly as they had 10 years ago. Mom in her perfectly pressed dress, Dad in his business suit, both wearing expressions of stern disappointment. Want me to tell them you're in a meeting? Monica offered. No. I straightened my desk, a habit from childhood. Send them in and find Valerie. They entered like they owned the place, Mom first, Dad following her lead, just as he always had. Quite an empire you've built, Mom said, looking around my office. Though I question the methods. Hello to you too, Mom. I gestured to the chairs. What brings you here? Your sister's accusations against Parker are all over the news, Dad said, remaining standing. Do you have any idea what this is doing to our reputation in the community? Your reputation? I couldn't help laughing. Parker committed fraud, embezzled millions, and tried to steal my company. But you're worried about your reputation. We raised you better than this, Mom snapped. Airing family dirty laundry in public. Parker isn't family, Valerie's voice cut in. She stood in the doorway, shoulders back, chin high. And neither are you, not anymore. Mom recoiled like she'd been slapped. How dare you? No, how dare you? Valerie stepped into the office. You threw Sylvia away for living her life. Then you turned your backs on me when I needed help. Some parents you are. We gave you everything, Dad protested. You gave us conditions, I corrected, rules, expectations, but never acceptance, never real love. Love? Mom's voice cracked. Everything we did was out of love. We wanted to protect you from what? Valerie demanded. From success? From independence? Look around, Mom. Sylvia built all this after you abandoned her. And me, I followed all your rules, married the man you approved of, and he nearly destroyed me. A commotion outside drew our attention. Through the glass, we could see Lucas arguing with someone, a man in an expensive suit who looked remarkably like Parker. Security, Monica called out, but the man had already pushed past Lucas and burst into my office. James, Mom breathed. What are you doing here? Your son-in-law called me, Parker's lawyer said smugly. You're making a terrible mistake, Sylvia. We can still settle this quietly. Like you settled Parker's other problems? I stood up slowly. How many companies has he destroyed with your help, James? I'm here as a family friend. No, Dad interrupted, surprising everyone. You're here because Parker paid you, just like you paid off the investigators in the Thompson case last year. Mum turned to him, shocked. Harold. I've kept quiet too long, Dad continued. Watched too many lives ruined because we were too proud to admit we might be wrong. He faced me directly. Starting with yours, Sylvia. Sir, James started, but Dad held up his hand. Get out of my daughter's office. Both my daughter's office. James glanced between all of us, then backed away. You'll be hearing from our legal team. Looking forward to it, I replied calmly. I'm sure the FBI will be very interested in your involvement too. After he left, the silence was deafening. Mom had sunk into a chair, looking older than I'd ever seen her. I should have spoken up sooner, Dad said quietly. Should have stood up to your mother, to the community pressure, to all of it. Harold, please, Mom whispered. No, Rose, look at them. Really look. He gestured to Valerie and me. Our daughters are stronger together than we ever were apart. Maybe it's time we learned from them. Mom's lips trembled. I don't know how. Start by listening, Valerie suggested, her voice gentler than before. Really listening, without judgment. And maybe, I added, surprising myself, we can have dinner. Not to fix everything, but to try understanding each other. I'd like that, Dad said, and for the first time in years I saw tears in his eyes. Mom stood up shakily. I need time to think. Take it, I said. We've all got healing to do. After they left, Valerie turned to me. Did that really just happen? I think Dad just chose us over their perfect image, I mused. Never saw that coming. Lucas appeared in the doorway. Everything okay in here? I looked at Valerie, saw my own mix of hope and caution reflected in her eyes. No, I answered honestly, but maybe, eventually, it will be. Sometimes the hardest walls to break down are the ones we build ourselves. But standing there with my sister, watching our parents walk away, not in anger this time, but in thought, I realized that maybe some walls need to fall, even if we're not quite ready for what's on the other side. The restaurant was quieter than I expected for a Friday night. Maybe that's why Mum chose it. Fewer witnesses in case things went wrong. Dad sat beside her, fidgeting with his napkin, while Valerie and I faced them across the table. Your company's stock hit a new high today, Dad said, breaking the awkward silence. I've been following the markets. The Parker scandal actually helped us, I replied, sipping my wine. Investors love a redemption story. Speaking of Parker, Mom cut in, the country club board is absolutely mortified. They've revoked his membership. Valerie snorted. I'm sure that's devastating for him, considering he's facing federal charges. Rose, Dad warned quietly as Mom bristled. We're here to listen, remember? The waiter arrived to take our orders, providing a welcome interruption. As he walked away, Lucas appeared at our table. Sorry to interrupt, he said, tablet in hand. Sylvia, we just got the final settlement offer from Parker's team. Mom straightened. Perhaps we should discuss this in private. No, I said firmly. No more secrets. What's the offer, Lucas? He handed me the tablet. They'll drop all claims to company assets if we withdraw our evidence from the FBI investigation. Absolutely not, Valerie and I said simultaneously. Girls, Mum started, sometimes it's better to handle these things quietly. Like you handled throwing me out, I challenged. Or abandoning Valerie when she needed help. That's not fair, she protested. None of it was fair. Valerie's voice rose. Do you know what it was like, living up to your impossible standards, always afraid of making one wrong move? We wanted to protect you. By suffocating us. I leaned forward. By making us choose between your love and our own happiness. Enough. Dad's voice cut through the tension. Rose, our daughters are right. We've been wrong, terribly wrong. Mom's hand shook as she reached for her water. I don't know how to be different. Start by telling us why, I said softly. Why was appearance more important than our happiness? She was quiet for so long, I thought she wouldn't answer. Then, my mother left us when I was 12, just walked away from her family. The shame, the whispers, the pity, I swore my children would never face that, would never give anyone reason to gossip. So you controlled us instead, Valerie concluded. I thought I was protecting you. Mom's eyes filled with tears. But I just drove you away, didn't I? Lucas cleared his throat. I should go. But Sylvia, we need an answer on the settlement. I looked at the offer again, then at my family. Tell them no deal. Some things are worth fighting for. After he left, Dad reached across the table and took my hand. I'm proud of you, both of you. The way you've handled this, supported each other. We learned it somewhere, I said, squeezing his hand. Even if we had to redefine it our own way. I want to try, Mum said suddenly. To be different, to listen. I can't promise I'll always understand, but... She took a shaky breath. I miss my daughters. Valerie and I exchanged glances. Years of hurt couldn't be erased in one dinner, but maybe they could begin to heal. Start with this, Valerie suggested. Come to the courthouse next week. When Parker's arraigned, show everyone where you really stand. Mom hesitated, then nodded. What should I wear? We all laughed, breaking the tension. Something that shows you're not afraid of gossip anymore, I suggested. The waiter returned with our food, and conversation shifted to lighter topics. Dad asked about the company's expansion plans. Mom actually listened when Valerie talked about her new job in our marketing department. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. As we were leaving, Lucas texted me. Parker's team leaked the settlement refusal to the press. You're trending. I showed Valerie the message. She grinned. Let them talk. We're done hiding. Girls, Mom called from the doorway. Your father and I. We'd like to come see your office properly, if that's all right. Next week, I said. After the arraignment. She nodded, understanding the condition. Next week, then. Walking to our cars, Valerie nudged my shoulder. Think this will last? I don't know, I answered honestly, but for the first time, I think they're actually trying. Speaking of trying, she smirked, I saw how Lucas looks at you. Focus on the family drama at hand, I laughed, but felt my cheeks warm. Sometimes the biggest victories aren't in grand gestures or public takedowns. Sometimes they're in small moments, a mother asking to listen, a father admitting his mistakes, sisters finding their way back to each other, and sometimes, just sometimes, they're in finally being brave enough to let people in again. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters, their cameras flashing as Parker was led in handcuffs through the main entrance. I stood with Valerie, watching him shuffle past in his designer suit, now wrinkled from custody. Ms. Santiago, they called out, any comment on the charges? Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. My daughters will not be commenting today. Mom strode up the steps, wearing a bright red dress that stood out among the sea of suits. Dad followed close behind, his hand supportively on her back. The reporters' cameras went wild. Everyone knew the story of our family rift by now. Mrs. Santiago, are you supporting your daughters against your son-in-law? Former son-in-law, Mum corrected firmly. And yes, I stand with my daughters, always. Inside the courtroom, we watched Parker plead not guilty to all charges. His lawyer, James, looked nervous as he requested bail. When the judge denied it, citing flight risk, I felt Valerie's hand slip into mine. You okay? I whispered. She nodded, squeezing my hand. Better than okay. After the hearing, we gathered in my office for lunch. Monica had ordered celebration sushi, a far cry from the formal family dinners of our childhood. Lucas joined us, sitting closer to me than strictly necessary. The board is thrilled, Monica announced, checking her phone. Our integrity ratings are through the roof. 3 new major clients want to sign with us, and the tech community's calling you a whistleblower hero, Lucas added, grinning at Valerie. Not bad for someone who started in the mailroom. Mom set down her chopsticks. I've been thinking about the company's charity foundation. What about it? I asked cautiously. Well, it needs a director. Someone with experience in community relations, who understands the importance of second chances. She straightened her shoulders. I'd like to volunteer. The room went silent. Dad stopped mid-bite, watching for our reaction. You want to work? For me, I clarified. With you, she corrected. Both of you, if you'll have me. Valerie and I exchanged looks. There would be conditions, I said slowly. Professional boundaries, no special treatment. I understand. Mom smiled tentatively. I think it's time I learned to follow someone else's lead. Speaking of following leads, Monica interrupted. Lucas has an announcement. All eyes turned to him. He cleared his throat, looking nervous. The patent office approved our new security protocol, the one Sylvia and I developed together. That's wonderful, Mom exclaimed, then caught herself. I assume that's wonderful. It is, I confirmed, fighting a smile at her effort. It means we can start implementing the changes we've been planning. Changes like making me head of marketing? Valerie asked innocently. You earned that promotion fair and square, Monica pointed out. Your campaign ideas are brilliant. Just like her sister, Dad said proudly, then added, both my daughters making their old man look good. Harold, Mom chided, but she was smiling too. My phone buzzed, a news alert about Parker. His other victims were coming forward, encouraged by our story. The house of cards was truly falling. Remember when you first showed up at my office? I asked Valerie. I thought you were here to destroy me. I thought I was here to save myself, she admitted. Instead, you saved me. We saved each other. That's what family should do, Dad said quietly. We forgot that somewhere along the way. But we're learning, Mom added, reaching for his hand. Together. Lucas's knee bumped mine under the table, deliberately this time. Speaking of together, Sylvia, would you like to have dinner with me tonight? Just us? The old fear flickered. What would my parents think? But Mom was smiling encouragingly, and Dad actually winked. Yes, I said simply. I'd like that. Finally, Monica threw her hands up. I've been watching you two dance around each other for months. As laughter filled the room, I looked around at my family. Old and new, broken and healing. Mom discussing foundation ideas with Monica. Dad and Valerie debating marketing strategies. Lucas's hand finding mine under the table. This wasn't the perfect family I'd dreamed of as a child. It was messy and complicated and real. We had scars and struggles and so much still to work through. But we were trying. Really trying. To new beginnings, Valerie proposed, raising her water glass. To family, Mom added softly. To writing our own rules, I finished. We clinked glasses, and I felt something settle in my chest. Not an ending, we were far from that, but a beginning. A real one, built on truth and acceptance, and the kind of love that grows stronger for having been tested. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's letting go of who you were supposed to be, and becoming who you are instead. Together.